Vera, an absolute pleasure to have you on the Green Machine today. How are you doing? It's testing a couple of days, but I think we're going to focus on a nice end to the year and what's been a very, very successful 2022 for you.
Thank you. No, I feel much better because the support of the people on Ireland is again so heartwarming, and that really, really supports me and keeps me on my feet. So thank you so much for asking.
Yeah, you're becoming a national treasure now, Vera. So you'll be beating people away next time you're at down Grafton Street or down Dublin or anywhere. So just keep that in mind. And as you know, we're all behind you, Vera. And you've made the country very, very happy in 2022. So look, I think let's focus on that qualification campaign. I mean, we can't really believe we're going to a World Cup. I mean, it's very hard watching a World Cup as an Irish fan, but then the great little thing about it is in about 6 months' time or so, we're actually going to be in one. So what was the key to qualification, Vera? You obviously brought such a great professionalism to the group. A lot of people feel that this Irish team is something of a golden generation. What was the key to getting us to Australia?
Well, I think the togetherness, teamwork. And the absolute will for very deep down inside to qualify. When we missed the qualification for the Euros 2 years ago, in that dressing room in Ukraine, where we had lost it, we said to each other, there were a lot of emotions, of course, a lot of tears. We said, we are going to the World Cup.
Yeah.
That was just such a feeling from deep down inside, and that came back every single time. It was the World Cup, the World Cup, the World Cup, and the individual needs, of course, had to be met, but it was only in relation to teamwork, only in relation to what the team needs and needed. And every single player and every single staff member has been working towards that. So I think that is the key thing. If you ask me what's the base of success, it's teamwork.
You can see that together in this. And even like the Late Late Toy Show a couple of weeks ago, and Leanne Kiernan, who's had terrible luck with injuries, and we know how talented she is, and even the fact that she was included in that. And I know that's not so much a football thing, but just the fact that she's in and around the group, and some of the girls that were injured or some of the girls that were in and out of the team, that they're around the group, it just shows that kind of togetherness. I mean, Vera, you've vast experience at the international level. I think a lot of people actually forget that. Now, we're not just saying this because you're on the podcast. But when you were appointed Martin will back me up on this. So when you were appointed, we said that you're probably one of the best appointments from the FAI in years. And we meant that because of your pedigree, I suppose, at international level. So, I mean, you coach Scotland, you coach Russia, Netherlands as well. Where does this Irish team compare to some of those countries?
Don't forget South Africa.
South Africa as well. Yeah. Can't forget them, Vera. Can't forget them.
No, because I've got such a good memories and still such a warm feelings for them. Well, thank you that you said it. What was your question?
I suppose with all those with all those national teams, like how would this Irish team compare compared to working with, say, the Russians or the South Africans, the Dutch, the Scottish?
Yeah, every team has their own strengths and weaknesses, and my starting point is always the strength of a team. And a slip of the tongue after the first game, I said, what a bunch of tigers these are. That became a nickname. But I think that is the key thing. They can focus, they can just do their job, sacrificing themselves for the team, not caring about what others think about the way that we have to play to perform. But understanding that if this is us, this is our strength, and this is what we can add to the game internationally. And I think that we have to offer a lot to the game. We have a few players that can work in that system in a way that we can score goals, and together we keep them away from our goal. So I think that if you compare that with other countries, it's maybe closest to Scotland,
right?
But Scotland is going just through walls, so you had to break them. But here in Ireland, it was more creating the teamwork, togetherness within the tasks on the pitch, and that step by step that grows and grows and grows, and we don't know the ceiling yet. So you can't compare Ireland with any of the countries that I've been coaching.
Yeah, it must have been unusual beating Scotland in that playoff, having started off with them.
I didn't feel that at all. really, it's 20 years ago. It was very good to be there. It was so nice to see former colleagues. It was so warm, so there was no animosity at all. It was just so nice to be there. But when the game started off, I had no special feelings. It was just that game that we had to win. And the day before the game at the press conference, there was a journalist who said, Vera, do you know, he was talking about the bookmakers, and he said, do you know it's 96-2? So I said to Katie, is it already allowed to bet on your own game?
Probably not.
Because,
probably not.
No, I would never ever do. I've never ever bet any on any game. But also now I've never in my life done something like that. But we had such a feeling that this is our time, this is our moment, and we are going to do it tomorrow. And every single player felt that so deep down inside. So, of course, the game was tense, and we had luck. But even stopping the penalty kick was no luck. That was prepared. We were ready for it. And the goal of Amber was also exactly how we prepared it. It was just finding the moment to do it.
And it was so fitting that Amber scored as well, given the tragedy up in Donegal just previously that week. And we had Sue Ronan on the show a couple of months ago, Vera. Don't worry, she said nothing bad about you. She said nothing bad about you. She was full of praise
with each other.
Yeah,
we're proud of each other.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's fantastic, doing fantastic work. At the moment. So she kind of said, and you can see it in an international tournament at the moment, obviously with the Men's World Cup being on. She feels that you're going to go very, very expansive. I know you can't give away the tactics, but she thinks, we're going to Australia, nothing to lose. Very, very good shot. Do you think we're going to see a very, very expansive, exciting Irish team? Not that they haven't been already, but are we going to go in quite fearless to Australia in 2023?
Yeah, this team doesn't fear anyone, and that's part of how we've built it up. If you fear your opponent, you have no chance. But you need to know your task exactly and know where you stand and know what you can do against a certain opponent. So we will be ready for it. But yeah, we need to see over there if that is enough. But fear, no, we will not fear anyone. Not Australia, not Canada, not Nigeria. And that's the one after that.
Yeah, well, we have one up on Australia, don't we, from our last game? So they will be fairing us, I think, rather than the other way around. Now, the preparation...
I'm not sure because it was a different game, and they treated it a nice game against Ireland. But it was a turnaround after many defeats against big opponents. We were waiting on that moment, and it was actually time that it would happen. Well, after that, we only lost one game, I think.
Do you think, did you try and prep the girls to try and play them against tougher opposition? Because I don't want to compare you kind of in the men's game, but I suppose your fellow country person, Gus Hiddink, when South Korea went to the 2002 World Cup, he started playing them against kind of much higher ranked teams before the World Cup to kind of get them prepped. And I mean, that really, really stood to them because they got third, didn't they? They got fourth. They got to the semi-finals of the World Cup. Did you take I'm not saying you took inspiration from Gus, but did you take a similar approach where you kind of said, well, we're very, very close to getting to a tournament. We need to test ourselves against the best?
I didn't realize that he has done it, but maybe that comes from the Dutch educational system. As you probably know, my husband has done a lot in that, together with Rinus Michels. My husband, Bert van Lingen, who's been the assistant coach of Dick Advocaat, and he's the key person in that educational program. And key in that is playing with resistances. Yeah. So if you want to get better, if this is your 100% and you want to go to that level, you need to meet that level. If you meet this level, you go down to that level. So that is, that's the starting point of what we do. And maybe that is why it's comparable with Guus. I think he's working with resistances as well, but I didn't realize that he has done that there because that's not in let's say in my memory. He's done a fantastic job, but I think that this is mainly coming from the educational system that I've gone through and the mentorship of my husband.
The strong Dutch mentality.
I'm not sure. Not fearing anyone is especially Ireland. The Irish do not fear anyone.
Well, let's go. We're getting those influences, Vera. So the preparation, I mean, I suppose it's well underway, and you know, I mean, I know Martin has plenty of questions about how the nitty gritty of how you're going to prepare, but I don't know if this is a fair question, but it's one that, you know, I'd be quite curious about. Will you be looking at maybe girls over in the UK that might be eligible for Ireland, the likes of Aoife Mannion, who's with Man United? I know there's a few girls. I know it's a few girls kind of on the radar. Will you possibly be dipping into that, or are you happy enough to go with the girls that kind of got you to the tournament?
They have to be really, really better than what we have. And indeed, Aoife Mannion is one of them. But she's coming back from an ACL injury.
ACL, yeah.
Yeah. So we're hoping that she will be ready, but she's in the pipeline and we're dealing with her eligibility. But there's some more. After we qualified, suddenly there were a lot putting their names in. We only use them if they have a very strong relationship with Ireland. Well, Eva, her parents have been born in Ireland, so that's a very.
And she couldn't have a more Irish name either.
Yeah, and her relation with Christmas and New Year, she's here in Ireland, for example.
Yeah.
With her grandparents. So there's a very strong connection there. But players that now jump in and think, oh, I've got a granny somewhere, I'm getting a passport and then I'll play for Ireland. We don't wait for that, unless they're really, really good. And if they're equal level, then I choose for the players that have done it, of course, because this bond, this teamwork, you can only keep if there's that trust in the credits that they have deserved. And every single player in Ireland, if there's a player that is really strengthening us, would want her in. And we had a lot of injuries. So if the injuries occur, then the bench is coming on the pitch, like Lady Eck, for example.
Yeah.
And a few other names that have been coming in, so that empties the bench.
Yes, yeah.
And you need to have a very strong bench. So we also need a few players to strengthen our team.
It creates the depth. And Martin, I think you should take note of that, because Martin's daughters are very keen on football and they will qualify through the granny rule. So, you know, if they want to get a call up by Vera, you better start coming over during Christmas, Martin.
Definitely.
Yeah, Martin. I mean, just even coming into yourself. I mean, we've already said, you know, Vera's become something of a national treasure, and we have a little surprise for her at the very end of the show. Something we have to announce her, but you know, you've had a huge amount of interaction from fans through the supporters club in London. Have you gotten a bit of feedback about how much they love Vera, I suppose?
Yeah, they absolutely love you, Vera. I mean, it's amazing. You've given us some great memories in 2022, and I know that
we do it with the whole team, eh? We do it with the whole team. With them,
yes,
really nothing, and players and staff, they all have their own task.
I mean, it's amazing. I've been lucky enough to engage with you and send you like good luck tweets or messages to you, and you've always had time for the fans responding and saying, you know, we're not there yet, and this is only the start for this team. You know, there's a mountain to climb. It's been absolutely brilliant. But I've had messages from members of our supporters club today just wanting to pass on, you know, their best wishes to you. They're delighted, actually. I've had people get confirmation that they've got tickets for the games in Australia today. So they can't wait to get down there. Like, we've got fantastic supporters, as you know. How do you think the bond is between you and the fans? Like, I know there wasn't loads and loads of them in Hampden, but you know, do you think that's going to be something that you'll be reliant on down in Australia?
Oh, we feel the support hugely. Even if they couldn't travel, we really feel the support on all the messages and all the vibes and everything what's happening in Dublin, but also from abroad. We do feel the support, and we do feel also responsibility to the fans and to give something back, because they've been there all the way, also when it wasn't clear that we would be successful. So yeah, we do feel it, and we appreciate it very, very much. So thank you all.
Is it very hard to not get distracted by these kind of times as well, like keep the girls kind of grounded, because, you know, it's unprecedented times. The women's have qualified for the first World Cup. Is it hard to kind of keep the focus on that, as like with the team, that they haven't just hit the ceiling yet? You mentioned that earlier. Like, we've got to go on now and kick on again into the next Euro campaign as well.
I think, if anything, the players are working really hard to get back on the level of Hampden, because after such a high, you drip, and that is But that is planned. We know that, and that is why I've been fighting so hard to get the training camp in Marbella, so that we have it behind us. And now today, for example, we have a coach clinic, grassroots clinic. I need to get in there. 10 minutes we start, but with coaches from grassroots level. So we really want to have the link of the elite with the basic activities that we have, and the other way around. We need them and they need us. So we've put a lot of effort in that, and I think that keeps us grounded also.
And also, then, how important has Katie been as your captain and leader? I mean, we've got such a generational squad. We've got some of the girls, they're coming towards the end of their careers in a sense, with their age. And I mean, we're not ruling them out, but and then you've got the likes of Ella Malloy coming through. I know she's unfortunately injured at the moment, perhaps coming back. Like, how important is Katie and that link between the kind of the ages? How do you manage that?
Katie is our captain and she's the face of the team. But don't forget that also Katie is nothing without her teammates and without her staff. And the other way around, we would not have been on this level without Katie. But there's a few more stars in our team, and they pick up the extras. The individual makes the difference, we always say. But without a team, the individual cannot perform. And if you see, one of the highlights was Louise Quinn saving the ball on the line against Slovakia. If you wouldn't have done that, we would not have qualified. Or the penalty kick that Courtney Brosselman has stopped. Or all the times that somebody was throwing a body in front of the ball to stop the opponent from scoring. The fact that we have 7 clean sheets in a row, I think that has been a key to our success.
Yeah, Vera, we're conscious that you're off to your next appointment, I suppose. You've a busy day ahead of you.
Yeah, there's coaches coming in, they're waiting for me.
Coming in and waiting for you to pass on your knowledge. But before you go, we have a bit of an announcement for you. We ran the Green Machine Podcast Awards last week and ran the votes for them. And we had a number of categories. We Player of the Year, Women's Men's Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, and so on. We ran a Manager of the Year vote, and there was a number of candidates there. Stephen Kenny, Jim Crawford, Stephen Bradley, is with Shamrock Rovers, even Lee Carsley. He's obviously played for Ireland. He's managing the England under-21s. You won it, Vera, 76% of the vote, with a couple of hundred votes in there. So congratulations. I wish we had something to give you. I wish we had a trophy or something to give you, but look, you're probably the only person who'll be able to accept the award today. But look, congratulations on that. And as I said, congratulations on a very, very successful 2022. You've made so many people learn. Happy, Vera. And
thank you. That means a lot to me. Really, the fans are voting that means a lot. Thank you so much.
76%. So it's no mean feat, Vera. No mean feat at all. And as you said, the very, very best of luck in 2023. Hopefully we catch up before you go to the World Cup. But if not, the very best of luck, and we'll be right behind you and the girls.
Thank you. Up to a fantastic 2023.